I'm not saying a word.
The song is called Thingamajiggy and the Fourth Dimensional Ring.
Okay. That's what you want to call it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep quiet.
Thingamajiggy and the Fourth Dimensional Ring.
Really?
The right part. I want it.
I'll remember that. Thank you.
Well, I will. Well, Opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network or anyone affiliated. There will be mature and possibly immature content. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't listen at all. It's very poorly produced. Take me to your leader.
And here is your host, the Wolfman, the Mike.
This is where the real freaks hang out, right? Yeah.
Welcome to the castle, everybody. We're doing an afternoon matinee show here, all right. And got a surprise for you. We got Spooks live today. I don't know if anybody's in there listening live, but you'll be able to call in and ask questions today. Darren, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Right.
Just went to bed. Now I'm back up.
You didn't get any sleep yet, did you? Well,
I got a few
that's
hours.
good. That's good. You don't need drugs that way. Just you won't get your rapid eye movement. You'll start hallucinating, and it's just like being really high. You start seeing shit.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't know if I'll have all the good questions.
It's good for you. Once in a while. Okay, well, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to do this. Hang on a second here. Here we go. Spooks? His call dropped. Oh, I can add to group call here? Okay, I'll do that. Spooks, are you there? You are the next guest on Monster Castle
we're back again.
Paranormal. All right. How you doing, sir?
Fine. You talking to me, I think, yeah?
Yeah. You called the other line. You dropped off the one, and then you called me on another line.
Oh, have I? Oh, right, okay.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah, strange, though. What happened?
I think that sounds better, actually.
It probably
It
does
sounds
for
nice.
you, yeah. You
Sounds
got-
clear in the UK anyway.
yeah. What's the weather like up there right now?
It's overcast. It's been raining most of the day, but it's nice night, evening sunshine.
Beautiful. That's so strange. That's why we're doing the interview now, folks, because you can't. It's hard to with somebody in the UK. They're 5 hours ahead of us here, where I'm in Ontario. So that would be Darren, where you're at. That would be like 8 hours ahead of you, wouldn't it?
Yep.
You're 3 hours behind me, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's 8 hours ahead from where you're at to England.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes past 5 o'clock in the evening.
Wow. What are you having for dinner?
Who, me? I've just had my dinner. Dare I say, I had faggots and chips. Or French fries, you call them, I think.
What do you call them?
French, we call them chips.
Faggots?
Oh, faggots. Faggots. It's a big, like a meatball, spicy meatball with onions and all that sort of stuff.
No, that's a spicy meatball, a faggot.
Yeah, that's why I cringed when you said, "What did you have for tea?" Oh God, I've got to tell him I had a faggot for tea.
Right on. I have faggots every night for tea.
So yeah, very nice, very, very, very tasty, very nice indeed.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
So throw a few questions at me by all means. You know, I mean, the intro on your show was about 3.5 hours long. For goodness' sake, it must be half the night gone already before the show starts.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes or something, but it gives you time to get, I like it, though. I love that.
Yeah, it's good, excellent, not a problem.
Everybody loves it, so I think I could shorten the song that plays after there. I think I'm going to shorten it a little bit, yeah.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I wanted to ask you about your new book.
All right, yeah. It's,
What's it called, and anything new that's happened to you lately? For everyone in my fans, everything that they've heard is new to them, because I didn't put your show on till that interview. I saved it for a day when I was short of a guest.
Crikey, that was that New Year's Eve?
It worked out perfect for me because New Year's Eve I had other people on, so I didn't end up playing it. So what I did was I just saved it for a rainy day because I knew. And what happened is I got called into work, mandatory overtime, so I couldn't do my show. So I thought that's a perfect time. I'll upload it.
Right.
But the ending of it actually didn't turn out well. I guess the last hour was static, and my network producer had to take over my show. And Darren and the guys were on with Joe Roop.
Right.
They saved the night.
Yeah, that was one hell of an interview. That was about 2.5 hours long, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that we were talking when it cut off about your radio DJ years.
Oh, God, yeah.
That
was amazing, yeah. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Is that what it was, Darren? Do you remember what we were talking on the show last night when it cut off?
I believe so. You got a little into it, but then, it went off.
I'm going to fix it later today. So if anyone's listening, then...
What was your favorite job? The DJ job? Or I remember you did a bunch of different things.
Well, crikey, I've had loads of jobs. I probably the most interesting would be probably the DJ and the driving instruction. I'm a driving instructor. I don't know what you call them in America. I teach people to drive.
Yeah. I've thought about doing that. I think I'd be good at it.
It's great. Over here, it's very lucrative. I'm only part-time now, so I do about 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. But over here, it works out at about £24 an hour. So I'm not sure how much that is in dollars. I think probably $22 an hour.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Okay, and I do 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 days a week.
So that's what you do still?
Yeah. I still do that, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I have some very trying people that I teach to drive, and sometimes I do come home with a thumping headache, and I just want to lie down and just shut off from the whole world,
I bet.
But sometimes they're absolutely fantastic. Like today, it's been absolutely great today. Everything worked. Everything I explained to the pupils, they sat down, they listened. If they didn't understand it, we just went through it step by step by step. And we were doing, with one guy, I was doing some bay, what we call bay parking today. Is parking like going to the shopping mall and parking in the bay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we have to reverse into it. So I was explaining all that to him. And he was absolutely fantastic. He got it first time, straight in, every time. Really, really good. But it doesn't always work like that.
Yeah, I bet you have some stories. What's the worst driver you ever had to try to teach?
I had a guy for 2.5 years. And when I say he was bad, he was bad. I'm not going to mention any names or where he comes from, but he had no coordination whatsoever. He couldn't press the accelerator down and bring the clutch up at the same time. He just could not do that. It was impossible. And God knows how many hours I spent with him trying to coordinate those two pedals.
Have you ever had any paranormal experiences while you're teaching someone to drive?
Yeah, I have, many times I pick up people's energies. I had a young girl I was teaching to drive once, and we were driving along, and I felt the hair on the back of my neck stand up, and I had the feeling of a young girl in the back seat of the car. And I said to her, I got to be very careful, because I don't want to get myself into trouble talking about the wrong things. So you have to ease into it very carefully. And I asked the girl a little bit about, what I did, how did she feel about it? And she said, oh yeah, I love that sort of stuff. In that case, it's not so bad talking about it. And I mentioned that I've got a young girl in the back seat with long blonde hair. And she just burst into tears, and she pulled it at the side of the road. She said, that is amazing. And I said, why? She said, that's my sister. She died 6 months ago.
Oh my God.
I won't go into how she died or anything, because it's quite a well-known story. So I explained what she looked like and the picture I had in my mind, and she said, that's my sister. I said, well, she's sat here with you on your second driver lesson, watching you and making sure that you're okay. She said, that's brilliant. She was absolutely over the moon when she got over the initial shock.
Did you just sense her, or could you actually see her?
No, I just sensed her. It's a picture in my head. And
I get that
when the
too.
hair stands up on the back of my neck, I know there's some energy there, there's somebody there. And then all of a sudden in my head, just a flash of this young blonde-haired girl sat in the back seat, and it was whoosh, it was gone. And that's right. What I explained to her. And that's all you need. You don't need any more. Because remember, all the information that person is giving to me takes up their energy. The least energy they can use giving me information, the better.
Okay, Spooks, I'm sensing something. Did that girl that died, I know you don't want to get into it, but was it an automobile related? Was she in
No.
some kind of accident like that? No?
No, not a car, no.
Okay.
Nothing like.
I just thought maybe she was there because she's paranoid about her sister driving.
No, it was, well, I can say it was water related, and that's pretty much all I can say.
Okay.
So, to be honest, but yeah, she was quite happy with that. And on quite a few occasions, I've helped a lot of people. I've had a lady with me for probably 18 months, and she has gone through a very traumatic time. In fact, that's in one of my books talking about her. And she said, not only have you taught me to drive, you've actually helped me mentally get over the problems with my, leaving my husband and all the problems I've had in life. You've helped me become stronger, take a step forward and move on and leave him behind, and that sort of stuff. And she said, I'll always thank you for that. And she said, I absolutely love coming out for my hour driving lessons every week. She said, it's great, I love it. So I'm not just a driving instructor, I'm like a
psychologist.
Yeah.
And you also helped the one guy where you're smelling the fish smells in your where was that? And then it turned out that this guy that you were instructing was related to the person's whose ghost.
That is actually, or it was on YouTube. I don't think it's on there now. That the whole show. Yeah,
that was Ghost Hunters, or which show was that?
It was on Ghost Hunters. Yeah, it was they used it as the main starter film, the one they used to start the original Ghost Hunters when it first started.
Wow.
In the UK.
That's quite something, eh?
Yeah, it was quite exciting. I mean, I didn't get any money for it. It wasn't the reason I did it. I did it to get the word across. And if I'd have known how many times it was going to be shown on the TV, once a month, 4 times a day, every month for 12 years, I would have said, well, whoa, hang on a minute. However, I wouldn't have kept the money. I would have put it into cancer research, because that's what I do. That's all I do. I don't do it to make a profit.
Yeah. Little shout out to Spirit Chaser, one of my new followers. I think he's listening, because he just sent me a tweet saying good morning on hashtag 47talk.
Right.
And Mysterious Holidays, that's Ellen. Is it Ellen? Yeah. From Mysterious Holidays. I believe we have that. She's from Ireland. So we have a couple people. Sure.
Yes, I've got her. She followed me on my Twitter.
Right on. Yeah, she'll be coming back on St. Paddy's Day.
Right.
And I told her to be drunk.
I think you just missed St. Patrick's Day. Or was that that was Burns Day, wasn't it? Yeah. Burns has just gone over
March 16th. And I also am only taking calls on St. Paddy's Day if you are intoxicated. That's going to be fun. So, how do you deal with all the voices and do you see apparitions every day too?
Not every day. I used to. It pretty much was every day when I first started. And it was quite soul-destroying, to be quite honest, some of the things I used to see. I started off with what they call crystals. And I used a friend of mine got me into crystals. I'd gone through a bad time in my life, and I was in the bottom of a hole, and it was a hole with steep sides. There was no getting out of, really. And a friend of mine helped me get out of it and helped me move on to the next step and then the next step. And then, unfortunately, I met a woman that wasn't all she turned out to be, and it knocked me for 6 and put me down again and right down again. And eventually I met this lady who helped me get through it with the use of crystals, like rose quartz and amethysts and all that sort of stuff. And I got into all that, and I found that it actually does work. The power of crystals is absolutely amazing, and I wanted to know more. I wanted to move on to something else, and she helped me move on to the spiritual side and told me how to empty my mind, how to bring in the spirit world, And I started to do that. I started to get pictures and colours and all sorts of weird stuff started happening to me. And it was always when I was in bed.
How old were you when that started?
It was 26 years ago, about 25, 26 years ago. So I was, I'm 66 now, so I would have been about 40 when it all started. But
it's never too late.
Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, I always had a feeling there was something strange and something around, and I always used to get funny feelings that I was being watched, or, you know what I mean? Even when I was a young kid, I knew when I was at school, when I was walking up to get my dinner at school, I knew when somebody was staring at me, and I'd quickly whip around and look, and they were staring at me, and then I'd look down, and I knew. It was bizarre, really bizarre. And one story that's in my first book was a story about me and my friend Ian, who we were on this golf course. We shouldn't have been there, and we were in the trees, and it's all sort of private ground, and you're really not allowed to go in. And we were just messing around as kids, and all of a sudden we had a smell of disinfectant, and it was really, really strong. And my mate said to me, he said, "Oh God," he said, that's God telling us to get out of here. He said, that's a sign. I said, "Don't be stupid, come on, let's go." So we climbed up this tree out the way, and literally within 30 seconds of climbing up this tree, the guy that looks after the groundsman, walked right across underneath us. And that was my very, very first thing. It was quite bizarre. It might have been just sheer fluke that happened, but it happened, you know. But things moved on an awful lot from there, and as I said before, I started seeing pictures and like videos, really. But it's as clear as having a dream. That's how clear it is. But you're actually awake when you have them. And you're
exactly
conscious of your surroundings. You know what's going on.
Everyone can do this. You have to get in touch with that little voice, that's quiet little voice, and you think, oh, I think I have a hunch to this or that, and usually it's always right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it was like, oh, what happened to me today, hon? Right, I said I just knew it. Oh, about the show. Last night I had a hunch that I should check the show. I was really tired though, and I thought, hell with it. But I had this hunch that I better double check the file I just converted before uploading it. I just thought, and I was right. I should have listened to that little voice. I was absolutely right. But that's
called following your intuition. And if you get that little voice, you should always follow it. And I'll tell you a little story now, which I probably mentioned in my interview last time. I was living in a house in the town, and I'd finished a long day's work. I got out my car, locked it up, walked and stood at the side of the road right next to a set of traffic lights. And there was one car parked at the traffic lights. The traffic lights were on red, and I thought I'll walk behind this car across the road to the other side to the shop to get something for my tea. Ooh. And a little voice in my head said, "Don't cross the road, he's going to run you over." And I thought, oh my God. And I thought, well, how can he? He's at the traffic lights, I'm walking behind him. I took one step off the footpath and I just heard crunch into reverse, and his wheels spun and he shot back and he hit me with his boot of his car. And I flew over the boot and I landed at the... Luckily, he got me sort of just below midway, and he sort of knocked me off balance and knocked my feet over the top of the boot of the car. And I ended up landing on my feet at the side of the car. And he stopped and he looked at me, and the look of shock on his face, and it just made me so angry. I punched his window and I really hurt my hand when I did it. And he just drove off, wheels spinning round the corner. And I just walked across to the shop, bought some stuff for my tea, and all of a sudden I was in the shop and I started shaking like a leaf. And the chap in the shop said, "Are you all right?" I went, "No, I've just been bloody run over." And it just hit me. It just hit me then, you know. And I walked round the front of the building to my flat that I lived in, my apartment. And as I was walking in to put my key in the front door, I looked down the main road and I could see this guy parked at the side of the road. And he climbed out the car and he looked and he started running across towards me, and I thought, here we go, we're going to have some trouble. So I put all my shopping down on the floor, expecting to have a bit of a punch-up, and he ran across, and he went, mate, I am so sorry, I am so sorry, and he was crying, his tears in his eyes, he was shaking like a leaf, he was as white as a ghost. He said, I'm so sorry. He said, I didn't see you, and I said, oh, well, it's okay, calm down. I could see he